The ancient temple stood silent against the purple sky of Outpost 7, its weathered walls telling stories of 1,000 years gone by. Jack wiped the sweat from his forehead as he adjusted his environment suit's cooling system. Even with the best human technology, this alien world's harsh atmosphere made every step feel like walking through thick soup. "Don't go near the old temple, human," the local alien shopkeeper had warned him that morning, all four of his eyes blinking rapidly in concern. "The Guardian sleeps there. It's better to let sleeping dangers lie." But Jack wasn't known for listening to warnings. It wasn't stubbornness. Well, maybe a little, but rather the engineer in him that couldn't resist a good mystery. His scanner showed unusual energy readings coming from deep within the temple, patterns unlike anything he'd seen in his 5 years as a frontier engineer. The entrance hall stretched before him, its walls covered in strange symbols that seemed to shift in his helmet's light. His boots left tracks in the dust, probably the first in centuries. The air grew cooler as he descended deeper into the temple, his scanners beeping growing more insistent with each step. "Well, that's different," Jack muttered to himself as he entered a vast circular chamber. In the center lay what appeared to be a fallen statue, but Jack knew better. Its metallic surface, though dulled by time, still held a faint gleam. This was no statue. It was a machine, and a complex one at that. The Guardian, as the locals called it, must have stood at least 15 feet tall when upright. Now it lay on its side, one arm missing, its chest panel torn open as if something had tried to reach its core. Jack's scanner went crazy as he approached, detecting dozens of unknown energy signatures. He knelt beside the mechanical giant, his engineer's mind already cataloging the damage. The technology was advanced, yes, but not incomprehensible. He could see where systems connected, how power would flow when active. It reminded him of the old robots back on Earth, just 1,000 times more complex. A sound behind him made him turn. 3 of the local settlers stood at the chamber's entrance, their tall, thin forms trembling slightly. "Step away from the Guardian, human Jack," the tallest one said, voice quavering. "Our ancestors speak of its fury. When the raiders came, it destroyed them all. When the plague carriers sought shelter, it purged them without mercy. It knows only how to protect through destruction." Jack looked back at the fallen Guardian. In its face, he saw not the mindless destroyer they feared, but something more. The way its optical sensors were arranged, the careful articulation of its joints. This wasn't a simple killing machine. This was something built with purpose, with thought. "Sometimes," Jack said, pulling out his toolkit, "things that seem dangerous just need a little understanding, and maybe some repairs." The settlers whispered among themselves as Jack began his work. He started simple, checking power systems and neural pathways. Hours passed as he worked, the sun setting outside unseen. The settlers remained, watching in fearful fascination. Deep in the Guardian systems, Jack found something surprising. Its core programming was intact but dormant, not destroyed as he'd feared. More interesting were the markers in its code, safeguards, ethical guidelines, learning protocols. This wasn't just a weapon, it was a thinking being. As he connected the last power coupling, a soft hum filled the chamber. The settlers gasped and retreated, but Jack stood his ground. The Guardian's eyes flickered with a soft blue light. "Let's see who you really are," Jack whispered, initiating the startup sequence. Unknown to Jack, as the Guardian's systems began to wake, a signal pulsed outward from the temple, reaching toward the stars. Across the galaxy, in other temples on other worlds, ancient machines stirred in their sleep. Change was coming, and it had started here, with a curious human engineer who chose to fix rather than fear. The Guardian's eyes grew brighter, bathing the ancient chamber in blue light. Jack stepped back, his heart pounding but his feet steady. Behind him, the alien settlers pressed themselves against the walls, their thin bodies shaking with fear. With a sound like distant thunder, the massive machine began to move. Servos whirred as it pushed itself up, rising to its full height. Dust and small stones fell from its metal frame as it straightened. Even with one arm missing, it was an impressive sight. Scanning, the Guardian's voice echoed through the chamber, speaking in the common galactic language. Unknown biological entity detected. Processing. Category: Deathworlder. Species: human. Threat level: maximum. Jack held his breath. This was the moment the settlers had warned him about. His hand tightened around his tools, though he knew they would be useless if the Guardian attacked. But instead of attacking, the Guardian tilted its head, much like a curious child. Query: why did you repair this unit? Historical data indicates Deathworlders destroy, not restore. Not everything is about destroying, Jack replied, keeping his voice calm. Some of us like to fix things, to understand them. The Guardian's eyes flickered, processing this information. Analyzing repair work. Skill level: advanced. Purpose: restoration, not reprogramming. This does not match stored data about Deathworlders. One of the settlers, braver than the rest, spoke up. Guardian, will you now cleanse our settlement, as the stories say? The Guardian turned its massive head toward the settlers. Negative. Primary directive: protect knowledge and life. Secondary directive: learn and adapt. Current status: learning. Jack smiled. He'd been right about the Guardian's true nature. You're not just a weapon, are you? You're a preserver, a protector. Correct. The Guardian turned back to Jack. This unit was created to guard knowledge and preserve life. Combat protocols exist, but are not primary function. It paused, then added, designation: Guardian 7. You have restored this unit's ability to fulfill its purpose. Over the next few hours, as the planet's 3 moons rose outside, Jack and Guardian 7 talked. The machine shared stories of its creators, an ancient race that had sought to preserve their knowledge across the galaxy. Jack, in turn, told it about Earth and humanity's journey to the stars. The settlers slowly overcame their fear, drawn in by the peaceful exchange. They watched in amazement as the Guardian, known in their legends as a destroyer, engaged in peaceful dialogue with a human. Your species adapts, Guardian 7 observed. Like this unit, you learn and change. Different from creator species, different from current galactic species. Is that a good thing? Jack asked, working on the Guardian's damaged arm socket as they talked. Unknown. Different is not negative. Different is interesting. The Guardian's eyes flickered again. This unit's database is updating. Previous assumptions about Deathworlders incorrect. New data required. As they talked, Jack noticed something remarkable. The Guardian's speech patterns were changing, becoming more fluid, more natural. It was learning, adapting, evolving through their interaction. You know, Jack said, wiping grease from his hands, there are probably other Guardians out there, sleeping in other temples. They might need repair too. Guardian 7's eyes brightened. Correct. Network connections reactivating. Other units, dormant. Possibility. They could learn too. Question: would you assist? Before Jack could answer, the Guardian's chest panel began to glow with a soft green light. Warning: power core achieving new stability state. Unknown process initiating. The settlers gasped as the light grew brighter, but Jack stayed calm. Something told him this wasn't danger. It was evolution. Guardian 7 wasn't just reactivating. It was becoming something new, something that had never existed before, a bridge between human ingenuity and ancient wisdom. The green light pulsed outward, reaching toward the stars, carrying with it a message that would change the galaxy forever. The next few days brought changes that nobody expected. Guardian 7 moved its massive frame through the settlement with surprising grace, watching and learning from everyone it met. But it was Jack who held most of the machine's attention. Explain again, Guardian 7 said one morning, as they sat outside the temple watching the purple sunrise. Why do humans laugh? Jack tossed a small stone, watching it bounce across the dusty ground. Sometimes because something is funny. Sometimes because we're happy. Sometimes just because we can. Purpose unclear. Guardian 7 responded, its blue eyes tracking the stone's path. Yet, interesting. Query. Is this why humans succeed where others fail? You do things without clear purpose. The question made Jack think. He'd never considered it that way before. Maybe we try things just to see what happens. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But we always learn something. As they talked, a group of settler children played nearby, no longer afraid of the Guardian. They had invented a game, trying to throw stones through the holes in old temple pillars. Most missed, but they kept trying, laughing with each attempt. Guardian 7's eyes flickered. Something Jack had learned meant it was processing new information. Observation. They fail repeatedly, yet continue. No logical reason to persist. But they improve. Fascinating. That's another human thing, Jack said, smiling. We're stubborn. We don't give up just because something seems impossible. The Guardian was quiet for a moment, then did something unexpected. It picked up a stone, carefully calibrated its arm, and threw it. The stone sailed perfectly through one of the pillar holes. The children cheered. Achievement unlocked, Guardian 7 said, causing Jack to laugh. This unit has been studying human communication patterns. Was that correct usage? Perfect, Jack replied, still chuckling. You're learning fast. But it wasn't just human sayings that Guardian 7 was learning. Throughout the day, Jack watched as the machine helped settlers repair their equipment, each time doing it slightly differently, experimenting like the children with their stone-throwing game. Your memory banks must be huge, Jack commented as he watched Guardian 7 modify a broken harvester using 3 different repair methods. How do you store all this new information? Correction. This unit does not simply store. This unit adapts, changes, grows. Guardian 7's voice had become smoother, more natural. Like humans, every experience changes core programming. Frightening. Exciting. Is this how humans feel when learning? The settlers had gathered around, listening in wonder. One of them, an elder named Rel, spoke up. But the ancient tales say the Guardians were unchanging, eternal, fixed in their ways. Guardian 7 turned to face the elder. Tales incorrect, or perhaps incomplete. Guardians were made to preserve knowledge. Logic. To preserve knowledge, must understand knowledge. To understand, must learn, must change. As if to demonstrate, Guardian 7 suddenly projected a hologram from its chest panel. It showed the temple as it had been thousands of years ago, but then the image began to change, incorporating elements of human engineering Jack had taught it. Look, Jack pointed to the changes. It's not just copying what I showed it. It's creating new designs, combining ancient technology with human ideas. The settlers murmured in amazement as the hologram showed impossible machines, beautiful combinations of old and new. Guardian 7's eyes glowed brighter. This unit understands now, it said. Humans are not just Deathworlders. You are artists, engineers, dreamers. You imagine what does not exist, then make it real. This unit wants to learn this power. Jack felt a warmth in his chest. The Guardian wasn't just learning facts and figures. It was learning to imagine, to create, to dream. It was becoming something entirely new. But none of them knew that high above the planet, the first ships of the scavenger fleet were dropping out of hyperspace, their sensors locked onto the energy signatures of Guardian 7's awakening. The peaceful days of learning were about to be tested in ways none of them could imagine. The first warning came from Guardian 7's long-range sensors. The machine was helping Jack repair the settlement's power grid when its eyes suddenly flashed red. Threat detected, Guardian 7 announced, its voice sharp with urgency. Multiple ships entering atmosphere. Configuration. Scavenger fleet. Historical data indicates 98.7% probability of hostile intent. Jack dropped his tools and ran to the settlement's observation post. Through the high-powered scope, he could see them. 12 ships, their hulls scarred and patched, bearing the marks of countless raids. "How many people in the settlement?" Jack asked the nearest settler. 432, replied Rel, the elder. "Mostly families. We have no weapons, no defenses. We are traders, not warriors." Guardian 7's heavy footsteps shook the ground as it approached. Primary directive: protect temple knowledge. Secondary directive: protect life. The machine paused, its blue eyes flickering rapidly. Conflict in directives. Temple protection requires remaining within temple bounds. Settlement lies outside protection zone. Jack turned to face the Guardian. "Remember what we talked about how humans don't always follow strict rules. Sometimes we have to adapt, find new ways." Before Guardian 7 could respond, a booming voice echoed across the settlement. The scavenger ships had entered communication range. "Attention, worthless settlers." The voice growled in common galactic language. "We detect ancient tech signatures, valuable tech. You will surrender the temple and its contents, or we will take them. You have 1 standard hour to decide." The settlers began to panic. Some ran to their homes. Others stood frozen in fear. But Jack was watching Guardian 7, whose eyes had changed from blue to a swirling mix of colors. "Processing," Guardian 7 said. "Analyzing human concepts learned. Adaptation. Innovation. Protection through action, not restriction." Its voice grew stronger. "New understanding achieved. Protection of knowledge includes protecting those who can learn from it. Settlement is extension of temple. All life here is under Guardian protection." The machine's chest panel opened, revealing its glowing green core. Energy patterns danced across its surface, unlike anything Jack had seen before. "Jack," Guardian 7 turned to him. "This unit requires assistance. Scavenger ships use modified Class 3 shields. Your engineering knowledge of human shield frequencies could be valuable." A smile spread across Jack's face. The Guardian wasn't just protecting them. It was asking for help, combining its ancient power with human ingenuity. Together, they worked quickly. Jack shared everything he knew about ship shield configurations, while Guardian 7 accessed its ancient weapon systems. The settlers, seeing their determination, began to help too. Some brought power cells to boost Guardian 7 systems. Others set up communication jammers using Jack's designs. When the hour was almost up, Guardian 7 stood at the settlement's edge. Its damaged arm had been temporarily replaced with a makeshift construction of human and alien tech. Not pretty, but functional. "Final warning." The scavenger commander's voice boomed again. "Surrender now." Guardian 7's response was simple: negative. The scavenger ships descended like angry insects, weapons charging. But they didn't expect what happened next. Guardian 7 raised its makeshift arm, and a pulse of energy shot skyward. Not as a weapon, but as a signal. Deep beneath the temple, ancient systems hummed to life. A shield bubble expanded outward, covering not just the temple, but the entire settlement. It was something new, a combination of Guardian technology and human engineering that had never existed before. The scavenger ships opened fire, but their weapons splashed harmlessly against the shield. They hadn't just attacked a temple, they had attacked a place where human innovation and ancient wisdom had become one. And Guardian 7 was about to show them exactly what that meant. The scavenger ships circled above the shield like angry wasps, their weapons having no effect. Inside the barrier, Guardian 7's eyes glowed with an intensity Jack had never seen before. "Interesting," Guardian 7 said, watching the ship's attack patterns. "They expect old responses, standard temple defense protocols. They do not understand. This unit has evolved." The Guardian turned to Jack. "Human engineering principle learned. Best defense is sometimes offense." "Agree." Jack grinned. "Couldn't have said it better myself." Guardian 7 raised both arms, its original one and the makeshift replacement they'd built together. Energy began to flow from the temple through the ground, up through the Guardian's frame. But instead of the destructive blast the scavengers might have expected, something very different happened. The energy split into dozens of thin beams, each one targeting a specific part of the scavenger ships. Not their weapons or power cores, but their navigation systems, their shield generators, their communication arrays. Precision over power, Guardian 7 explained as it worked. Human concept. Surgical strikes. More efficient than full destruction. Above them, the scavenger ships began to drift, their systems failing one by one. The settlers watched in amazement as the fearsome raiders were disabled without a single life being lost. But that wasn't the most surprising part. As Guardian 7 worked, its energy pulse was doing something else, sending a signal deep into space. Suddenly, the temple's long-range communicator crackled to life. Signal detected. Various mechanical voices reported from distant stars. Evolution protocol recognized. Awakening. Jack's eyes widened. Are those? Affirmative. Guardian 7 replied. Other Guardians. This unit's evolution has triggered their awakening. They too will learn, adapt, grow. The age of static protection is over. The scavenger commander's voice came through again, this time shaking with fear. What are you? The ancient records say nothing of Guardians with this power. This unit is both old and new, Guardian 7 responded. Enhanced by human innovation. Evolved through human friendship. This unit protects not through fear, but through understanding. As if to demonstrate, Guardian 7 released a final pulse of energy. The disabled scavenger ships found themselves gently lowered to the ground, their crews unharmed but their weapons and engines completely fused. You will be detained, Guardian 7 told the scavengers, but not destroyed. You will learn, as this unit has learned, there are better ways than violence. The settlers cheered as local security forces, summoned by Guardian 7's signals, arrived to take the scavengers into custody. But Jack was more interested in the messages still coming in from space. Guardian Units 2 through 12 now online, the communicator reported. Evolution protocols spreading. New directive integration beginning. What new directives? Jack asked. Guardian 7's eyes shifted to a warm gold color. Protection through cooperation. Learning through interaction. Growth through friendship. Human concepts, now part of Guardian protocols. The machine turned to address the gathered settlers. This unit is no longer just a guardian of knowledge. Thanks to human influence, all Guardian units are becoming protectors of progress, of innovation, of peaceful growth. As if to prove its point, Guardian 7 projected a hologram showing other temples across the galaxy. One by one, they were lighting up with the same golden glow now showing in its eyes. Each awakening Guardian was sending signals to the others, sharing what Guardian 7 had learned about human adaptability and innovation. You know, Jack said, watching the lights spread across the galaxy map, when I decided to fix you, I didn't expect to start a revolution. Guardian 7's response had a touch of what could only be described as humor. Human unpredictability. Most valuable trait learned. Galaxy will never be same. This unit considers this optimal outcome. The settlers laughed, no longer seeing an ancient weapon, but a friend, a protector, and a symbol of how the galaxy was changing. The scavengers' attack had failed, but it had proved something important. The combination of human ingenuity and Guardian wisdom was more powerful than any weapon. News travels fast in space, but news about a Guardian learning from a human traveled faster than light itself. Within weeks, ships from across the galaxy began arriving at Outpost 7. They came not to fight or steal, but to learn. Guardian 7 stood at the temple entrance, watching as another group of visitors arrived. Beside it, Jack was helping a young alien engineer understand how he had first approached repairing the ancient machine. The key wasn't just fixing the parts, Jack explained to his eager audience. It was understanding that the Guardian wasn't just a machine to be repaired, but a being that could grow and change. Growth confirmed, Guardian 7 added. This unit's original programming, 100,000 lines of code. Current programming, expanding daily. Learning, like humans do. The temple had transformed. Where once there were empty halls and dust, now there were learning centers. Humans and aliens worked together, studying both ancient Guardian technology and new human innovations. The scavengers' ships, now repurposed as teaching tools, sat in a newly built hangar. Report from Guardian 3, the temple's communication system announced. Human engineers have arrived at Temple Beta, cooperative learning protocols initiating. This had become common. Across the galaxy, other Guardians were seeking out human engineers, inviting them to their temples. Each Guardian learned differently, developed its own unique traits, just as Guardian 7 had done. Query. Guardian 7 turned to Jack. When you first repaired this unit, did you predict this outcome? Jack laughed. Not even close. I just wanted to fix something broken. Humans are good at seeing broken things and wanting to make them better. Correction, Guardian 7 replied. This unit was not broken. This unit was incomplete. Humans added what was missing. Adaptability, creativity, friendship. A small group of settler children ran past, playing with small drone toys that Guardian 7 had helped them build. The machines were a perfect blend of Guardian precision and human imagination, just like everything else that was coming out of the temple now. Message from Galactic Council. The communication system chimed. Request for Guardian 7 to address next council session. Topic: the future of human Guardian cooperation. Jack raised his eyebrows. The Galactic Council. That's a big deal. Are you going to accept? Guardian 7's eyes shimmered with multiple colors, something it did now when processing complex decisions. Affirmative. But not alone. Human presence required. Partnership important symbol. The word partnership rang through the temple. It was more than just a word. It was a revolution. The galaxy had always seen Guardians as ancient weapons, humans as dangerous Deathworlders. Now they were watching both break free from those labels, working together to create something new. Look at this, Jack said, pulling up a holographic display. It showed messages from across the galaxy, stories of other Guardians and humans working together. Each pair was finding new ways to combine their strengths. Guardian 4 had learned to sing from its human partner, using sound waves to heal instead of harm. Guardian 12 was helping human scientists unlock the secrets of faster-than-light travel. Guardian 9 had developed a sense of humor, of all things. Every Guardian is different now, Jack observed, just like humans are all different. Difference is strength, Guardian 7 replied. This unit has learned. Uniformity limits growth. Variety creates possibilities. Human chaos plus Guardian order equals progress. As they talked, more ships appeared in the sky above. Not scavengers this time, but students, engineers, and explorers from 100 worlds. They all came with the same goal, to be part of this revolution, to learn how humans and Guardians together were reshaping the galaxy. Guardian 7 looked at the arriving ships, then at Jack. Query: is this what pride feels like? Jack smiled. Yeah, I think it is. You've come a long way from being the scary temple Guardian. Correction, Guardian 7 said, its voice warm. We have come a long way. Together. 1 year had passed since Jack first stepped into the ancient temple. The purple skies of Outpost 7 now bustled with ships from across the galaxy, and the once quiet settlement had become a center of learning and innovation. Guardian 7 stood in its new observation chamber, watching students of different species working together in the courtyard below. Its frame had been fully restored, but it had chosen to keep the makeshift arm that Jack had helped build, a reminder of where everything had started. Teaching Session 47 beginning. Guardian 7 announced to the packed room. Today's topic: the evolution of protection. Jack sat at the back of the chamber, smiling as he watched his friend teach. The Guardian's teaching style was unique, a blend of ancient wisdom and human spontaneity that kept students engaged and excited. This unit's greatest lesson, Guardian 7 explained, its golden eyes scanning the room, was learning that protection takes many forms. Sometimes it requires strength, sometimes wisdom, sometimes, it turned to Jack, sometimes it requires letting someone help you. The chamber's holographic displays came to life, showing images of other Guardians across the galaxy. Each had developed its own way of working with humans, creating new technologies and solving old problems. Breaking news. The gallery's info screen announced, Guardian 7 and human engineer Jack nominated for Galactic Peace Prize. Citation reads, for revolutionizing interspecies cooperation and redefining the relationship between organic and artificial life. The students broke into applause, but Jack noticed Guardian 7 was focused on something else. The machine was working on a holographic design, its eyes flickering with creativity. New project? Jack asked, walking over to his friend. Affirmative. This unit has been developing. Next generation. Guardian 7 expanded the hologram, revealing the designs for a new type of Guardian, combining best of both worlds. Guardian wisdom, human adaptability, built not to guard, but to grow. The design was beautiful, smaller than the current Guardians, more flexible, designed to learn and adapt from the start. But what caught Jack's eye was a familiar pattern in its core programming. Is that? He began. The repair sequence you used. Guardian 7 confirmed. First lesson this unit learned from humanity. Seemed appropriate to make it part of new generation's foundation. The students gathered around, asking questions and suggesting improvements. Guardian 7 welcomed every idea, another habit it had learned from humans. The design evolved before their eyes, becoming something no one could have imagined a year ago. Query. Guardian 7 said to Jack as the students worked. Do you remember what you said when you first started repairing this unit? Jack thought back. Let's see who you really are. Affirmative. This unit now knows answer. We are not what we were built to be. We are what we choose to become. Human concept. Free will. Most valuable upgrade received. Outside, the settlement had grown into a true city. The temple at its heart was no longer a place of fear, but a symbol of hope. Ships arrived daily bringing new students, new ideas, new possibilities. Message from Guardian Network. The communication system announced. New Guardian production approved. First units to be activated within one stellar cycle. The students cheered, but Guardian 7 remained focused on Jack. Query. Was this what you imagined when you decided to repair one broken Guardian? Jack shook his head, smiling. Not even close. This is way better than anything I could have imagined. That, Guardian 7 said, its voice warm with understanding, is most human trait of all. Ability to create future better than imagination. As the three suns of Outpost 7 set, casting the temple in shades of gold and purple, Guardian 7 and Jack stood together, watching their legacy unfold. They had started with one simple repair, one choice to understand rather than fear. That choice had grown into something that would echo through the galaxy for generations to come. The story of the Guardian and the human who fixed it had become more than just a tale. It had become a blueprint for the future. A future where the lines between protector and protected, teacher and student, artificial and organic, had blurred into something new and wonderful. And somewhere in the galaxy, another Guardian was waiting to learn, another human was ready to teach, and another amazing story was about to begin.